Hello everyone, this is Zahid Bashir. I am a faculty member at Department of Commerce, University of Gujarat, and a PhD scholar at Delhi College of Commerce, University of Punjab. Today, I am going to discuss the choice between thematic versus content analysis. Then I will discuss the discourse analysis and its application. Then on Monday, I will start the NVIVO process. So the participants are still not arrived in the meeting, but as we have the shortage of time, so I am recording this session on the behalf of the participant that they will see the recording in their spare time. So let's start this session. We have discussed content analysis. We have discussed the thematic analysis in more detail with their application in my previous two sessions. And today I am going to discuss if we have to choose between thematic analysis or content analysis, what is the procedure, what is the criteria to choose. So first of all, you need to understand the difference between both technique, their pros and cons, their limitation, and so on. So what is the difference between thematic analysis and content analysis and how they are basically related to our research? So having explored content analysis and thematic analysis in depth, you might have questions about how the two approaches differ. So you need to understand the difference. Both content analysis and thematic analysis share similarities in terms of data analysis process, but there are key differences, particularly depending upon your objective to analyze the qualitative data. So let's examine the similarities and differences between these two approaches. So the first difference between the content analysis and thematic analysis is basically the data focus and interpretation. So when you are considering the thematic analysis, it places a strong emphasis on individuals' experiences, views, perception, and often striving for a depth of understanding of people live realities. So they are based on people experiences, views, and perceptions, basically. So when you are interested in acknowledging the people's experiences, views, and perception, you are going to use the thematic analysis. It aims to identify themes that provide insight into a particular group or culture. And the interpretation in thematic analysis is often involves a realist approach where researchers attempts to report on the reality of participants and or a constructionist approach exploring how discourse shape individual realities. So it also helps in discourse analysis too. In the similar way, if you see the content analysis, it's primarily focused on the content or communication itself, the words, the phrases, the symbols or images. So in this way, you are not interested in people's experiences, views, and perception. Rather, you are interested in the words, the phrases, the symbols, or the images as a means of communication in case of content analysis. So it is often used to understand the content, context, intentions, or effects. Its interpretation can be manifest, focusing on the obvious, visible components of the content or latent, seeking to uncover the underlying meanings. Next thing is, in this way, is the next difference relating to this discussion is coding and theme development. Thematic analysis. In case of thematic analysis, the process of coding in thematic analysis is largely inductive, with codes and themes developed from the data itself. It means you are going to create your hypothesis or you are going to infer from your data. This approach is known as inductive. You are going to generate some theory, you are going to generate some hypothesis on the basis of the data in case of thematic analysis. So this approach is similar to grounding theory, because in grounding theory, we also use data for generating themes or codes or for creating hypotheses. So this bottom-up approach allows for the unexpected findings to emerge, which can lead to rich and complex interpretations. So sometimes uh, some of the some of the findings may be not expected from you, and the data provides those findings, and that will create a new dimension for your interpretation or your expectations or your research scenario. In case of content analysis often employs a more deductive coding process with predetermined codes or categories applied to the data. So in case of content analysis, you are going to use deductive approach, but in case of thematic analysis, you are going to use inductive approach. So in case of deductive approach, you may have some predetermined codes which you find out from literature or from some theory or from some, you can say, past studies or some relevant sites. So you need to have some predefined code in case of content analysis. While in case of thematic analysis, you create code on the basis of the data. So that is the main difference between both techniques. The second thing is it is top-down approach, while the thematic analysis was bottom-up approach. So this is top-down approach is more structured and can allow for more straightforward comparison across different data sets. However, it is worth noting that content analysis can also be conducted inductively. You can apply the content analysis inductively. It means you can create codes from your data rather than some predefined codes. The next thing that you need to understand here is basically the quantitative element. So what is this quantitative element? In case of thematic analysis is predominantly a qualitative method with less emphasis on counting and more on exploring the data depth and complexity. So thematic analysis more focus on qualitative method, while in case of content analysis, it is a quantitative method. It is more quantitative. It is originated from quantitative method. Uh, in case of thematic analysis, it can incorporate some quantitative elements such as generally secondary to qualitative analysis, like they can generate frequency, they can generate the demographic percentage and so on. While in case of content analysis, it is now often used qualitatively. It can still provide numerical data, such as word frequencies or theme occurrences. These are some of the tools of content analysis that you can use. I have shown you some of the research paper where they have used the frequencies and percentage of some themes. So this is quantitative or numerical in nature. So this allows for some degree of statistical analysis alongside qualitative interpretation, bridging the gap between the two research paradigms. The next thing that we need to consider here is flexibility and accessibility. In case of thematic analysis is often viewed as more accessible, particularly for researcher new to qualitative analysis, thanks to its clear step-by-step process and depth of guidance available. So it is easy for the new researcher to follow the thematic analysis procedure. But the content analysis, with its roots in quantitative research, its focus on the content itself can require more experience. So in order to apply the content analysis, you need to be an experienced researcher. But if you are a new researcher, you should apply the thematic analysis because it is easy, it is step-by-step procedure, is easy to understand, and you can apply it easily with the thematic analysis process, such like Dawn and Clock. While the content analysis procedure requires you more experience or specific skills, particularly when dealing with complex or symbolic content. The next thing is basically the decision to choose between thematic or content analysis. If we need to choose the thematic analysis or content analysis, we need to decide which method is suitable for what purpose. So the decision to use thematic analysis or content analysis in research project should be guided by the nature of the research question, the type of the data available, and the goal of the research. So, in case of research question, in case of thematic analysis is particularly beneficial when the research questions aims to explore experiences, perceptions, and understanding of individuals or groups. So, if you are interested in understanding the individual experiences, their perception, their understanding regarding a particular phenomena, you should preferably apply the thematic analysis. But if you are more interested on the contents or communication of a particular phenomena, then you need to consider the content analysis. So in case of content analysis, it is more focused on contents or communication. While in case of thematic analysis, it is more focused on personal experiences, perception, and understanding of individual regarding a particular phenomena. The second thing is it is powerful tool for shedding lights on the live realities of the participants, making it suitable for exploratory research, where the objective is to understand complex phenomena. While in case of content analysis, if the study aims to examine the presence, relationship, or meaning of certain words, themes, or concepts within a specific content analysis would be suitable approach. So you need to identify what is the important of a specific word, a specific theme, or specific concept within some specific content. So this approach is useful in analyzing such things. The second thing for deciding about whether to use the thematic analysis or content analysis is the data type. Thematic analysis lends itself well to large volume of rich, detailed data, such as in-depth interview or focus group, where participants provide comprehensive accounts of their experiences. So you need to have the data related to in-depth interviews or focus group, where you need to have comprehensive accounts of their experiences. While in case of content analysis, it is either a quantitative or qualitative method. So it is advantageous when working with extensive textual data or symbolic communication, such as documents, speeches, media content, or visual data. So whenever you are going to analyze the data from documents, from speeches, from media content, or from visual data, then it is content analysis. You are not going to consider interviews, focus groups for your content analysis. You are going to consider documents, speeches, media content, or visual data. So it can effectively handle large amount of data, and it is particularly useful when the content is complex or contain hidden meanings. Similarly, there is another criteria to choose between thematic or content analysis. That is the research goal. So in case of thematic analysis, if the research goal is to provide a rich, nuanced understanding, nuanced mean new understanding or novel understanding of a phenomena, from the participant perspective, thematic analysis would be ideal choice. But if the research aims to quantify certain aspects of the data or draw a comparison across different data sets. Content analysis could be better fit with its root in quantitative research. Secondly, it facilitates the development of detailed interpretation and is effective at revealing complexity and diversity with the data. This approach is useful if, for example, if you are analytically examining some narratives or some narrative material to read the between the lines to reach underlying meanings. But in case of content analysis, it allows for systematic counting and comparison and provide non-qualitative insights. So it will provide you the frequency and percentage of a particular content as per your research goal. So what is the next thing? So, in case of thematic analysis, you are going to use with its its if we consider the next thing, that is researcher expertise. In case of researcher expertise, thematic analysis with its clear step-by-step guidance and emphasis on depth over breadth can be excellent starting point for those new to qualitative research. For the researcher who are new to qualitative research, it is advised to them to use thematic analysis. But in case of the person is experienced or skillful, he should use content analysis, especially when dealing with complex or symbolic content. So it requires more experience or specific skills. The next one is discourse analysis, but I have planned to discuss just on Monday so that we may be able to consider it in more detail. So let's discuss on Monday about the discourse analysis. We will cover today's session. We are going to end because of the known availability of the participant. So we will discuss the discourse analysis on Monday. So stay blessed and stay happy. Thank you very much.